The district's 11 News reporter Mark Greenblatt has discovered that your kids may be in danger from something else right here in Houston, and Mark's here now to tell us that what he's found out has parents and health experts worried. Mark?
Greg, Lisa, over and over this year, we've seen the headlines. People getting sick or even dying from food poisoning. It's something that's especially dangerous for children. So why in the world would some local schools lower the bar for protecting our kids? Take a look.
To know that a child gets ill, and I had the opportunity to fix that problem, and I didn't do it. I can't live with that.
Meet a woman in crisis.
You're putting your job on the line?
Holly Cortez.
I'm sure I won't have a job after this.
Is a food service supervisor.
I'm the primary income in my household.
And just who is her boss? Aramark, the multi-million-dollar company hired to manage the Houston Independent School District's kitchens. Kitchens that serve more than 200,000 meals a day to children.
That any one of them would ever come in contact with that food
is what worries her.
Are they at risk?
Yes, they are.
And has these parents in shock.
I can't believe that they're doing this to our children.
It's very upsetting.
So what's going on? The subject is food poisoning, and nutritionists say that anything that kids eat needs to be kept out of the danger zone of not hot enough or not cold enough. Otherwise, illness-causing bacteria can grow. But we've discovered that HISD may be putting kids at greater risk of serious sickness. Are we talking like 1 or 2 degrees off?
Cortez says HISD's kitchens were having problems.
No, we're talking 15, 20 degrees off.
Keeping foods the right temperature.
It would get below 135.
Putting the food into the danger zone for illness. And to make matters worse,
We had a hard time getting thermometers into these schools.
Thermometers.
So what happened next?
I'm not happy that we've lowered our standard.
Meet Marissa Holland, a food quality control inspector for HISD.
I'm not happy that we've changed the way we used to inspect. We've always gone by temperature.
But now, she says,
because HISD can't keep the food at the right temperature, you just decided to stop inspecting for temperature?
I don't think it's safe. I don't think it should be allowed.
So how could this happen? Holland says HISD started using the time-only or 4-hour rule, an option in federal and state code that says instead of checking a food's temperature to make sure it's safe, cafeterias could now choose to only have to time how long they leave the food out. And the time limit? Up to 4 hours. And Cortez says in her training,
It was explained to me as something that's normally used in donut shops and kolache shops.
But Holland says,
now schools that we find are not able to maintain temperatures now go by the 4-hour rule, time only.
If they can't pass muster, you lower the bar.
That's absolutely right.
take a look. At Westside High School this September, an HISD inspector found hot wings, beef tamales, chicken, and pizza being served to kids not at the safe 135 degrees, but at 131, 119, 107, even as cold as 97 degrees, all in the food poisoning danger zone. So what did that inspector do? Switch the cafeteria to a time-only or 4-hour rule. So what do some HISD parents have to say?
My daughter got sick 3 times last year because of the food she ate in school.
And they're not happy.
They're just lowering the standard and not taking care of the problem.
But they say that they're allowed to do this. It's a loophole in the code.
They shouldn't be concerned with a loophole. They should be concerned with the children.
But Holland says the district started pushing food inspectors to do more of it. Don't believe it? She taped it.
You know, I did it. I mean, last week, MLK went out, everything's out of camp, 4-hour rule, bam. Everything's out of camp, I'm implementing 4-hour rule.
The city of Houston could be setting itself up for a disaster.
Caroline Smith-DeWall is one of many food safety experts we spoke to, and they all agreed that HISD
may very well be putting the children being served in those schools at risk.
Especially since those schools already showed a problem with food temperatures. But she also points to this FDA study, concerned about dangerous bacteria growing on food within just 2 hours.
These are hazards that can cause very severe illnesses.
And with children, those illnesses
can lead to hospitalization.
So why would HISD take such a risk? This memo we uncovered says it's in an effort to minimize Houston Health Department violations. That's because when HISD puts a cafeteria on the 4-hour rule, if a city health inspector visits and finds food too warm or too cold, he can't write them up for it. Because believe it or not, Now he can only cite them if they've broken the 4-hour rule.
You can't do a quality inspection if you can't look at the temperature.
But Holland says it did lead to fewer city health violations for the district, for which HISD food inspectors got money in the form of bonuses like this.
The beef tamales were 107 degrees, safe temperature or unsafe.
So we ran all of this
Unsafe.
by the city of Houston's health department.
Chicken that day was 120 degrees, safe or unsafe? Unsafe. Their solution is, rather than fix the problem, simply change the method of inspection so you can't ding them anymore.
That's not a good solution, but unfortunately I cannot speak for what they decide.
But it's a solution Aramark defends.
It's a scientifically supported process for controlling food and quality.
So what about what we found at Westside High? Foods in the temperature danger zone. And yet the HISD inspector decided
The solution is to move to the time-only rule.
That was a recommendation.
But if you document problems, why not just fix the problem rather than finding a loophole?
I guess it would be a combination of both.
And HISD remains by their side.
Why not just fix the problem to begin?
Because the procedure prescribed under the 4-hour rule is entirely appropriate according to the city and according to the FDA.
But it's riskier also.
No, I disagree with that.
It's not the same standard, no.
Which one's higher?
The higher standard would be to maintain the product at 135 degrees. It becomes a foolproof system.
The Houston Health Department tells us of the 8 or more school districts they inspect, only HISD uses the 4-hour rule this way. And we did find kids getting sick in HISD schools, like 8 students at Rucker Elementary. Now, some of them ended up in the hospital last year after eating school lunch. But the Houston Health Department says in that and most other cases, doctors rarely test to find an exact cause, and adds most illnesses go unreported altogether. And we're not finished. Monday at 10, we'll let you know about another HISD plan to stop violations, this time by stopping inspections. And we'll go undercover to show you where food that feeds your kids is really coming from. That's Monday, only on 11 News at 10. I'm Mark Greenblatt, 11 News Investigates.
We learned a registered sex offender, now charged again, has been attending class at a local